Bradley Stephen Perry grew up in the spotlight, getting his start as a kid on Disney Channel's Good Luck Charlie as the unforgettable Gabe Duncan. From there, he starred in hit shows like Mighty Med and Lab Rats, Elite Force, along with a string of original Disney movies that made him a familiar face for a whole generation. But what really caught my attention is what he's doing now. Still acting, but also creating his own content in a way that's smart, funny, and completely his own, and with a mustache. Bradley Stephen Perry, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Happy to be here.
All right, listen, we're all connected to Disney in some way or another, whether it's, from being parents or, from your own childhood. Bradley Stephen Perry, you just basically grew up in my daughter's living room.
Oh, yeah. It's good to see you then.
Yeah, it's good to see you too again.
Yeah.
I told her that you were our guest today, and she freaked out. She was pumped. She was like, "No way, Mom, are you serious?" And
That's so
funny.
funny.
She was like, "Can I go?"
Well, tell her I say hi.
I was like, "Absolutely not." Well, she had school.
No.
Yeah.
So what?
She's in college, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, doing a summer program.
I didn't learn anything in college, so. Huh? She could have skipped a day.
We're trying to be responsible.
Oh, okay. Sure.
But, maybe she'll meet you again. Yeah. I don't know. They're usually not super excited about who I get to meet along this journey.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah, but she was, her and her little friend. She was like, "I don't have school." Her friend was like, "I don't have school. Can I go?" I was like, "No, man, maybe." How's it been, since, are you still acting?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's funny, when you do a TV show that does, we were kind of just talking about this right before this started. It's like when you do a TV show that does really, really well, early on, it kind of sets you out on a path that is super unrealistic. Mm-hmm. And the reality of acting is that you spend your days trying to find your next gig, and you audition and you just kind of go to whatever you can get. And it's funny because you always get asked like, "Oh, what are you working on now?" Or what are you doing next? But like the reality of being an actor is that you're not working on a TV show that does 100 episodes and,
it really
is very popular, It
really is. It's unrealistic. Like you said, mine was overnight popularity and it's really confusing, mm-hmm. It's kind of just changes your DNA in some manner, and you have to kind of create this persona of that person that lives on the outside, and then be yourself at home. But you also have that scenario where you were on top of the world and you're doing all these things and it just goes away and then nobody gives a shit about you and you're like, what do I do now? I'm going to get an office job? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Or do I keep trying and hurting my own feelings over and over again?
That's literally what it is. It's like you're just forcing yourself through this thing. But,
it really is.
I think also too that for me, I had to kind of rediscover like a love for acting and why I really enjoy doing it. It's hard when you, again, like I worked consistently on TV from 10 to 18 years old. And so, it's like the reality is that's not real. And I didn't really have to, I worked obviously, but I didn't have to like work for a career. I didn't have to like grind for years to
different.
To book things,
It's different.
So
you weren't like, being a waiter at some shitty restaurant trying to, go to auditions all day long. But how did you get started? You were 10 years old.
So I started acting when I was 5. I did random commercials here and there, and then started doing like theatrical stuff when I was about 7 years old. I was pretty lucky though, because I lived in Thousand Oaks. I was born in Thousand Oaks.
That's perfect.
I don't know what the situation would have been if I lived even in Santa Barbara. If like I wasn't able to drive with my mom into work every single day. I don't know if
but you were 5. That's obviously not your conscious decision. That was your parents.
I loved it though.
You did.
In a way that was like...
You just had that personality.
Yeah. I wouldn't shut up as a 4-year-old. And, I just like... I think to me, it was like a kid wanting to play football after school or baseball after school. It was like the thing I just loved to do was...
And you were fortunate enough to have parents that were able to do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just be able to stay living at home also throughout the whole thing. Because most people have to move across the country to do it if they want to do it,
But you were like homeschooled too? You didn't get to go to school or do regular kid things?
I started doing homeschooling when I was 11.
11? So you were in school for a period of that acting time?
Yeah. I was in school for a good majority of it. And then, from 11 to 18 was on set and did homeschooling and then went to college. So
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
got a
mean,
little bit of
so you
normal.
had some
Yeah.
bout of normalcy, but then the kids probably treated you differently because,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, rushing or like joining a fraternity was hysterical. Having come from
You
Disney.
joined a fraternity.
Yeah. The hazing process was pretty obvious in that one. But
No. Wait. Hold on. Go on. Wait.
I mean, everything was
Hold
centered
on.
around
Wait. Back up. I'd like to hear more about that.
like my photo in my fraternity is me holding up a sign that says, "And you're watching Disney Channel." You know, it was just like the obvious like pledging stuff was going around to the sororities saying you're on Disney and stuff like that. You know, just stupid things.
Yeah.
That I can't talk about because it's part of the brotherhood.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
That's
No problem.
Sworn to secrecy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Signed a
obviously.
non-disclosure with the frat.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was like always just stuff like that. But it didn't really bug me. I couldn't have cared less. I honestly.
It never bothered you.
I feel like I couldn't let it bug me because it was like all that was going on. So if I wanted to enjoy my time in college, then I just kind of had to go along with it.
So, but do you feel the same? Like I feel like I had to kind of create a persona because you always have to kind of be on.
I think I was lucky enough, like Larry David created this persona that is, he hates everybody and everything. Mm-hmm. And it kind of gave him justification to be in public and just kind of be an ass to everyone. And everybody was like, that's awesome. That's Larry David.
I wish I did that.
And he killed it because it's like, he just gets to be rude to everyone. Somebody goes up and is like, I want to take a photo. And he's just like, screw you, get away from me. They're like, that was awesome. It was Larry David. Like, I feel like I kind of got lucky enough to where the show I did, I was like this really sarcastic kid. So people kind of thought I was just rude. And then so like, I didn't really have to do anything much like in college. I just kind of got to be around. I didn't have to create anything crazy. I honestly, like, I talk about it all the time. Like, people don't really give me crap on social media. I'm going to get it now, but like, people don't give me crap on social media for things because I genuinely think people don't care about my opinion. I just kind of am like I just kind of skate through everything. I think that people, when I was in college, thought that I was just another college student because my Instagram was just like, normal dude photos that looked like
you were acting though. I mean, but mine's like a reality show,
that was more personal.
And so people really genuinely think like that is
totally
who I am, and that is my life, and they know exactly who I am.
Well, I think that's why like the podcast world was super hard for my buddy and I, and we took a step back from it was because it was like we were starting to become personalities and that we didn't want to be that.
That's
because like the dream was to be an actor, and then with that comes people knowing who you are. So then you're like, well, from the opportunistic standpoint, it's like go do this thing, and then we started to do that, and then it was like then people cared about our opinion, and we would like get stuff back online where you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm an idiot.
I try really hard just to keep that shit to myself because who the fuck am I? You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Honestly.
I genuinely, the amount of times that on that podcast I had to be like, but I don't know what I'm talking about. So, take it all with a grain of salt. I'm just giving my stupid opinion.
Yeah. You want to hear my opinion? Sure. I'll tell you, but that doesn't, it holds no water and,
I got a film degree, bro. I don't know what I'm talking about with anything. So
but you've lived a life, your whole life, basically. Right.
But also at the same time too, though, that's like more reasoning for nobody to listen to my opinion is because I spent my whole life on a set.
I know.
I wasn't even in the real world.
What they think is a dream scenario, but oftentimes, it can be pretty shitty too.
Yeah, it was just work. I mean, it was
but your personal life also gets dragged through the mud and and then they put all this nonsense on the internet that's not true. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do about it. It says I'm 5'8" on the internet. We can start with that. Yeah. I'm 5'3".
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it gets worse from there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those scenarios. There's you just have to live in that space and
Yeah. I think it's tough too for acting because it kind of like it comes with it.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
it's
what
not
I'm
something
saying.
like it's not even like I wanted to be public, I guess.
I didn't at all.
I tried to do it, I really did with the podcast, and then when I started doing cooking stuff, it became more public, and then it just kind of like bummed me out a little bit. I was like, oh, I didn't want that.
I didn't want that at all.
Just want to act,
Exactly. I like the job, but I didn't actually seek it out. It just kind of fell in my lap, and I really just didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
Yep.
Didn't realize, that this is what is going to happen.
How did it all start for you?
we were at an auction and they approached and asked if we wanted to do a sizzle reel and got picked and,
Wow.
you know, shot 6 episodes, and it took a while for them to air it. But when they finally did, it was an overnight sensation. It was A&E's highest rated show ever.
Yeah.
At some point we had Super Bowl ratings. I mean, it was crazy.
insane,
And now it's in every country and we're on season 16. Like,
crazy.
how is it still going? I really, honestly, I was like, who the fuck's going to watch this? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think it was going to be a thing. And, you know, I got it the worst, you know, all the attention and, you know, negative, positive, but, and just nonsense, like things that are just wildly untrue, you know? And, you know, they kind of over-sexualize me, men saying things and, you know, putting my head on other people's bodies. It's just, you know, it's not easy.
But that's also what's funny though, is like when people get mad about your opinion or something like that online, back to like that mentality of like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Isn't it almost more on the person who's mad at you for like even letting
that's where
my
you have
opinion
to
affect you?
allow yourself to go, because so many people overthink other people's opinions about them just in normal life.
Totally.
And we as people that are in that spotlight have to consider the fact that so many people in the world that we've never met have an opinion about us and verbalize it behind a keyboard, or, you know.
Yeah. Well, and also too, it's like people get mad. It's like you'll see like some influencer gets in trouble for some tweets back in 2012, and you're like, well, why did we make the person famous in the first place?
That wasn't offensive in 2012.
Yeah, or like, why do we even care about their opinion?
I know.
Like, why are we holding it such? I guess when somebody in politics does it, it's a different story.
I think that's just the climate of the world. You know, everybody, you know, holds influencers and they're more important, you know, than somebody that actually is here to change the world, not some person, some kid that.
Yeah, when did we start caring about like
things that don't matter?
Well, but like an actor's like political opinion. When did that become a thing?
You know, I think that's like kind of always been a thing.
But it doesn't make any sense though, because it's like
that's who they idolize.
I guess, but if
that's who they
if an
idolize.
actor went up and gave me an opinion on like football, I wouldn't be like, well, I got to take that to heart.
Well, you know, I mean, there's always, you know, the guy that sits on the couch that's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You could have caught that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd have made that putt.
But he's never played football, you know?
That's my favorite, is watching golf. And just, I play golf and you go out and suck. But then when you watch golf, you're like, why would you hit that shot? And you're like, I couldn't do any of the things that these guys are doing at all.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance in hell. But, you know, it's easy to sit there and
hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
How do we even get on that topic? I don't know. We just went down a rabbit hole.
That's the point.
So
right?
angry for no reason.
That's the point, though, right? I mean, so what are you working on right now?
Yeah, I guess kind of along those lines. Had been doing the social media stuff for a few years, and I still do it, but I think it kind of distracted me from the thing that I've always really loved, which was acting and creating and doing stuff along those lines. And so just trying to push myself back towards just being an actor.
Yeah.
And doing projects that I enjoy doing. And so I shot a couple different projects earlier this year. One's coming out a little later that a friend of mine directed. And then I think I'm doing something towards the end of the year, but just kind of anything that comes my way. I think that I was like, I literally think that I did it so much as a kid that I kind of got into this mentality of like, well, I have to do something else because I don't know for sure that I love that thing.
Right.
And then when I started doing other stuff, I was like, the hell am I doing? I love acting so much, you know?
Yeah.
Like I love
and you're good
playing
at
a character. Thank you. Yeah. I also think though that I just realized that there was so much about it that I didn't know, you know, and like I started really doing deep dive in classes and coaching and trying to figure out who I am as an actor.
Right.
I felt really comfortable in sitcom, but that doesn't mean that I'm comfortable in a lot of other stuff. So just trying.
You're trying to branch out from sitcom?
Yeah, you know, I think sitcom is such a niche form of television. It's almost like a play in the sense that you do it in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, laugh tracks.
There's not a wall there, you know. It's all really staged. And I think that I just would really love to dive more into real charactery stuff.
Okay.
Just do the fun part of acting, I guess.
Have you done any of that currently? Is that part of your new project?
Yeah, I just did a project that was definitely the hardest form of acting I've ever had to do in my life. That was like really the psychological thriller kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just two people trapped in a bathroom for
That sounds
the
terrible.
majority of it. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of yelling, and not anything that I've ever had to do in my career before. But it's really fun to me, I guess.
Well, I mean, you always have to do the scary thing, you know, and to evolve and get better, you have to do the thing that you're afraid of the most.
Yeah, honestly, I think that I started taking a acting class with a guy who's really well known in the industry and has taught a lot of really great actors, and his class is exponentially scarier than any on-set acting, because once you're on set, you got the job, you know. So now it's time to just do your job. The hard work certainly is the prep leading up to it, but performing in front of him and then the other people in the class who are really talented, like that's way scarier to me than performing in front of 100 people on set that are just doing their individual jobs, you know, because like it's really vulnerable to go up there and do a 10-minute scene in front of a bunch of really good actors and a guy who's been coaching for.
Yeah, well, we're all our worst critics, you know, and we definitely admire other people and feel like they're always a little better than us. And even if we did it, we nailed it, we're still going to be like, God, I could have done better. I could have done better.
Yeah.
I fucked that up.
Yeah, and acting's a weird one too, because it's like, I don't know. I guess if you play a sport and you achieve the goal, you know that you did well, I guess. With acting, like, you could go up and perform and feel like you did an amazing job, and somebody be like, that was shit. You know? Like, somebody rips you to shreds for it.
Well, again, with like, everyone's opinion, you know?
I mean, like, you win the Super Bowl.
It's
you
all
win the
perspective.
Super Bowl, I guess. It's like, but for an actor, it's like you go up there and the director just being like, what was that? And you're like, damn, dude, I was just giving my all. Like,
yeah.
I thought that was great. Like, I am not kidding you. I did a performance last week, and I really thought we were crushing it, and it got stopped 2 pages into a 7-page scene, and you're like, was it that bad? Like, it was that, and it's like, that doesn't mean it was bad. It just wasn't the direction that it was supposed to go in, you know? But it's all subjective, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so it's like, it's hard, but you're super vulnerable up there.
No, always.
Screaming and crying, you know?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a job,
Yeah.
you know? And, you know, but, you know, we get to do something that we actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of when my son is, he works in film as well. And he kind of got nervous and segued when he was going to college, and he wanted to, he was like, I'm going to go to architecture school. And I was like, that's not what are you sure?
Yeah.
You know, I'll be supportive in whatever you want to do, but I mean, that's not your love. And he started with it, and a few months in, he was like, I'm gonna transition to film.
What does he do in film?
Everything.
Yeah.
I think he mostly really likes director of photography or like gaffing. He loves that. Cool. He also, you know, he likes to write and produce, and he likes every element of it, and he's worked in every element of it, you know, which I think is the best case scenario in any situation, because you know, you can do your best, you know, with one job, but you can do the best for everybody if you know, you know, what everyone does. Yeah,
especially on a film set, it's so collaborative in every
it really is
department.
You have to.
It's the coolest thing to me about the job is how important every single aspect is, because you watch something and you're like, yeah, the performance was great. Well, the directing was great. Well, the writing was great. The director of photography did such a great job with it. And like the choreography was great. Like all these different aspects of it, like have to come together to make a perfect film.
They do.
And only the actors
one twat in this scenario, and you know, I would just like muck the whole thing out.
The other thing too, like with being an actor, is I think it's so good to work behind the camera, because you realize how much work has been put in prior to you getting there. Yeah. You know, your first day on set is somebody's 3-month mark, you know, who's been putting so much time into it, or the writer's 2-year mark when they started working on it. And you come in and you're like, first day for everybody, but it's everybody's like, get into it.
I feel like everybody in the crew, I mean, they work so much harder than I do. You know what? I go out there. I mean, and it's stressful for me because I can't turn it off. I go, you know, I have to go somewhere and people recognize me, and I have to deal with that aspect of it. But when I go do my job in front of the camera, and then I leave, and they work tirelessly into the night,
Totally.
you know, and early in the morning, and they're just constantly, you know, going, and
Yeah.
you know, I can stop and take a break. And
It is funny though, because a lot of people really, I don't have this feeling, but a lot of people really tense up when there's a camera around them. I've never, like, I didn't
You've never had that?
recognize it. I never have, like, felt weirded out, but probably because it was imprinted in me at 5 years old. I never really understood how people get so freaked out by a camera.
I was initially, we do interviews where we're kind of just, you know, sitting in a chair, and there's the camera, and then there's a bunch of, you know, people, you know,
Everybody's,
and they're
like, looking
basically,
at you, yeah.
here's the scenario, say something witty, or, you know,
Sure.
here's this. And I'm really good at it. Not to toot my own horn, but,
Sure.
you know, like, but the first couple of times I was just like, fuck, you know,
Yeah.
I was just I was sweating, you know, panicking.
Why?
But then I just got used to it. I got used to it.
Like, I don't like taking photos. I suck at taking photos. I'll take
I know.
photos with people.
I'm pretty
I don't
sure.
like if somebody's like, oh, let's take a family photo. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't like being on camera. I don't mind working in front of the camera, I guess. Does that make sense? Is that stupid?
No,
Does that sound
no,
really dumb?
that makes sense to me,
Right?
1,000,000%. I get asked to take pictures constantly, and I feel like I'm Forrest
Yeah.
fucking Gump in every
Yeah.
single person's pictures, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm probably like, you know, because his eyes are closed in every photo, you know, like,
that's not what I
I
thought
feel
you were
like
going
that's what it's going to be, and I can't, like, be like, hey, well, let me see that before you walk away.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
I can't,
Oh, there's
you
nothing
know,
worse
I'm
when
like,
they
oh,
do this.
well, you know,
When they do a selfie and you're like, oh, God. That's
yeah,
what I
oh,
look
they
like
walk
today.
up, you know, and you're like, okay, hi, excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
I look like
I'm
trash
happy
today.
to.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I mean about always being on, because, you know,
Yeah.
some days it's fine, but sometimes I see people like, you know, I'm like, just
Yeah.
ask me, just come ask me. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that bugs my partner far more than it does me. She gets more annoyed when people are like sneaking photos.
well,
I'm like, I think I'm just so like zoned out on.
you have to be on some level.
Yeah.
But I mean, she had some sort of limelight because of her.
Yeah.
You know,
And
her
she
mother.
gets it and it probably is also imprinted in her of having people look at her mom.
And
her
maybe
whole
that's
life,
why
you know,
my
too?
kids used
Yeah.
to get really pissed when there was like
Yeah.
paparazzi or people would stop us. They'd be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I think that really, really
I always
bothered
think
them.
though of like, if I was to see Tom Brady, I'd probably be pretty weird too, you know?
Is that
So,
that's
like,
your one?
That would be a big one for me. If I saw Tom Brady, or if like so this, I've thought about this so many times, and this put it all into perspective for me. When I lived in New York, I lived around the corner from Bradley Cooper, and probably my favorite actor. I love
Okay.
Bradley Cooper. If I could have anybody's career, it'd probably be his. And all the time, this happens all the time. People will recognize me and go, they just mix up the name. They'll go, "Are you Bradley Cooper?" And I'm like, "No, you're thinking of the different name, but you right thing, right?" And it happens all the time. People will say Bradley Cooper. And so I always wanted to bump into him somewhere in New York and people say Bradley Cooper to me all the time. I hope that one time in your life, somebody is asked to take a photo and said, "Are you Bradley Stephen Perry?" And I thought this story was so funny, you know? And then I realized how weird that would be for him if I was
He'd be
telling him.
like-
He'd probably be like, "Shut up. What are you even talking about?" You know? Like, who are you? Why are you talking to me? And I was so excited for so long to tell him this story. And then I was like, all right, that's probably why people are so like weird when they get around you, is because like you're so excited to say this thing. I probably wouldn't have even been able to get that story out to him. I
Oh,
probably
no.
would have butchered that story.
Oh yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
I've done it.
So it's like I get it. I gotta give
I've
people
done it.
grace, I guess.
I don't even know why this is the person that I've met tons of celebrities and,
Yeah.
and I never had a reaction. I was the celebrity guest along with Mindy Kaling at
Yeah.
NASCAR, and I fangirled the shit out of her. I was just like
Yeah, she's
panicked,
hysterical.
and everyone's like, "Go talk to her," and I was like, "I can't."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they were like, "She's leaving, like go talk to her." And I was like, "Fuck, okay." You know, so I went up and I tapped her on the shoulder, and she turned around and she looked at me and I was like, "Hi." She goes, "Hi." And I was like, "Oh my God." And she stared at me for a second and I was like, and then she turned around and she was like,
brutal.
"Okay," and walked away. And I was like, "I read your book." Like, like,
Oh, brutal.
And I'm like, I don't even know why
Worst case scenario.
that happened. Why her? I do think she's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's a writer and she's funny and but I that's never happened to me.
Yeah.
In any scenario. And I've met a lot of people. And that one, for some reason, I just acted ridiculous.
I cried when I met Kobe. That was a
Yeah?
big one for me. Oh, yeah, I sobbed. Yeah, that one.
In
I
front
grew
of
up-
him?
Yeah, I grew up in LA.
Yeah.
And my dad and I are massive Laker fans. And my formative years were Kobe Bryant. And he was on set of a show that filmed next to a show I was doing. And we had somebody come onto our set and was like, hey, Kobe's on the set next door. He'd love to meet you guys. Could you come over? And probably only Kobe Bryant could get people to be like, yep, 100% I'm going over there. Like, if anybody else, you'd probably be like, tell him to come over here. We're working. Like, you know what I mean? If he's visiting sets, come over here. But we all stood up and walked over there, met him, and he was like, oh, man, like, I love your show. Like, you're so funny, all these different things. And I seriously like lost it over him because he was like my idol, And
I mean,
I was doing this.
How
too,
old
'cause I
were
was
you?
So damn tall. 12.
12. Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah, that was big. For
I get
me.
that's huge.
Yeah, because I
huge.
mean, I was like, I'm 12 or 13, and I don't know, just like a young boy growing up in LA. Like my dad had season tickets to Lakers since I was a kid, so I went to hundreds of Laker games, and just
That's
always
cool.
loved watching him. That was a big one for me.
I met Hanks. I was in New York for Upfronts, and he was doing a show there, a play, and he somehow heard that we were in town, and he's a huge fan of Storage Wars.
No way.
And he really likes my character, and I guess before my character, me, whatever.
Yeah,
Me.
he likes me.
He likes me. Okay. Anyway, he had done a podcast like right before that, and they were like, "What's your guilty pleasure?" And he was like, "Storage Wars," and I just love Brandi, like it.
No way.
Anyway, so went to the show, got to meet him, and he was like shaking.
Hilarious.
I don't know if he'd just done a
Sure. Yeah.
show on stage, or if he was just so humble and so easy to talk to, but like he seemed nervous, and I was just like, this is you're You're Tom Hanks.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I know that one was kind of huge for
That's
me.
crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I know it was. I was just like, wait, what? Like the whole day, I was just like, what is happening? What is happening?
He just
What?
might be the greatest actor of all time.
He's
too.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
He collects typewriters. He was like, if you ever find, like old typewriters.
That's so cool.
I know. And he was like, if you ever find, I was like, I will fucking absolutely call you if
Don't
I
you worry,
find one.
Tom.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. I'm going to go find one
Absolutely.
just for you.
Yeah. Like I'm just seeking them out now.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, it was cool. But, I mean, I think it's all a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? Like we get to do cool shit like that,
For sure.
and have those stories. And, but it's also, can be grueling. And, when, like I said, when your show's over and then you're like, okay, well, now what? And who gives a shit about me now?
Yeah, for sure.
And some, a lot of the Disney kids succeed, especially in that era.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot that when the kid show ends, there's nothing there for you anymore.
Yeah, I also think too that it probably has to do a lot with people realizing maybe that's not exactly what they want to do. Like if you were a kid and then you came out of it and you were like, I don't really know if I want to spend the whole year of my life waiting around for an audition, like
And getting kicked in the head
just
over and
heard
over
a
again.
lot of no's, and you're kind of just like, I'm over
It was,
that.
how much can my ego take?
Yeah, because I mean, trust me, I battle it every single day of like, okay, well, you want to have a normal life, have some kids, and like be able to provide. And you're like, it's not.
But are you ever going to be able to have a
sustainable.
normal life? That you're always going to have been out there,
Yeah. But
What's normal?
My other thing too is I genuinely, I don't know what else I would do. I don't have anything that I really care
But
about.
you've come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, am I going to get an office job? Like, what do I do now?
No, I
know?
I think I would go crazy. I think if I ever had to resign to anything else, it would be something in a production.
Is that why you started doing social media and like the cooking show? Or
So I started doing social media and cooking during the writer's strike and the actor's strike. And there was no auditions. There was nothing going on. Couldn't pitch anything. Couldn't talk to anybody about anything. And yeah, I was just kind of like sitting at home going like, we had just come out of COVID. There was like a year where everything was normal in the film industry, and then it just went back to being just done. And yeah, I think that being on camera, even doing those cooking videos,
Just feels natural.
It filled my cup up enough,
Yeah.
you know, to make me feel like I was doing things. And then I think that it also gave something for me to do that like kept me going.
Yeah.
That I could kill time for auditions, you know?
Well, it also gave you a platform and also like keeps you relevant, you know, in some form or another.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, it was a way to stay connected to people, hopefully keep your name out there, just do all those things. And I genuinely love cooking. I mean, I spend every day cooking. Like it's a big
I made
deal
a ton of social media cooking videos during COVID.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do all day. Like my kids were on like different sleeping schedules. I'd be up during the day, they'd be up at night, you know?
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I cook like crazy.
Yeah. I think I watched the first season of The Bear, and that made me be like, oh, I want to make these fun dishes. You know what I mean?
That show was so intense.
And then I started doing these random dishes. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really cool.
So, I mean, not only were you doing like the food and the social media, but you also started a podcast. It was right around that same time?
Yeah, right around the same time. Well, I guess the podcast had come first. We had done a show for a little bit, and then we took a break from it, and then started up a different version of it, where we were just strictly like interviewing actors, interviewing musicians, stuff like that, just kind of talking to them about like growing up in the industry. But I think, yeah, for both of us, Jake had a same career path as me, same past, like worked on the network, worked on a bunch of random stuff, grew up working a ton. And we just kind of had the exact same careers. I think we both had that same realization of, we need to do something to fill our time. And then we had the same realization of like, oh, I think we do just want to be actors, you know?
Yeah.
Because it just started to become too much like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a host. Like you have that ability more than I do of like, you actually enjoy listening to people. I really struggle with listening to people. Not in like this
Well,
sense
it
of like,
depends on the person. Don't get it twisted. Okay.
I seriously, like, I just would zone out so much. And I don't mean that in like a way of like, oh, I don't care about what you're saying. I just like,
sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure sometimes it was mostly that. But
Sometimes
like,
oh my God, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like sometimes I'm like, I don't even know. I wouldn't know how to like drive the next question. I didn't know how to come up with questions. I didn't know how to do those things. And it just was like the amount of time and effort that it would take into being good at hosting. I was like, I would rather put that time and effort into the thing that I genuinely love to do. And I think that we both felt that way. And we took a break from the podcast and we were like, let's work on a project together. And we took money from that we made from the podcast, and we just put that all into making this project. Through all of that, we both like the amount of conversations we had. We were like, I'm sorry I was ever mad at you for not putting effort into the podcast, because like we both worked our ass off to do that project, and we were like, this is clearly like where we want to put our attention. And it was just, if there was any time where we weren't working hard on the podcast, it was just because it was like, oh, this is something I don't want to do, you know? And it was hard because it was like, we loved doing it because we really loved, like, honestly interacting with the people who watched it. We had a really cool, solid fan base there that we're really proud of. And they were all really kind and encouraging to us. And then I think that when we took a step back to do film, I feel like everybody was, at least that I had mentioned it to, was like, yeah, that's the thing, you guys, that's what we know you from. Like, go do that, you know? And like, would rather watch that, hopefully. I don't know when exactly it comes out. We are finishing up in post right now, and then hopefully going to do a little bit of festival run. So I'll give you a tiny bit. Yeah. We shot it together. He directed it, I starred in it, and a buddy of ours wrote it. But we wanted to do a festival run with it. I didn't know that you had to really release everything like at festivals. They have to be like the first place where you show everything. Next time I come on, I'll
well, what's your first festival?
I don't know yet. Yeah. We have to deal with all the submissions. The submissions for all that is a whole new process too, of things that I didn't know about. But it's been an interesting process. It's the first time that like either one of us has really gone from pre-production to through post-production on things. Even when I did it in college, it was just like student films just are so different, you know?
Yeah. Oh, no, I know.
You have a semester to do it. It's like you have to get it done. This is all self-guided and self-taught. So,
But it was scary, and you did it, and you know, you're just kind of in that scary transition for people to see it and see like how they feel about it. And
it kind of gives you makes you want to give a lot of people grace when you walk out of a movie and you're like, that sucked. I hated that.
yeah, that movie was bullshit.
Yeah, it's like I just think about how many people are going to say that about this probably, but it was like such a fun passion project that we both walked out so happy with, and like all of our friends who worked on it or people that we hired were so happy about it. And I imagine the amount of times you walk out,
I'm
and
sure
put
it's
it in
going to be
theaters,
great.
hopefully, but like the amount of times you walk out of a theater and you're like, God, that sucked. I'm like, I imagine people were pretty excited about this, and I'm just taking a
It's
dump
humbling.
on it, you know?
It's humbling, I'm sure.
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day what like the real true dream is of like acting, and I'm like, I just continually working. That's all you want to do is like just have consistent work.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the real
it.
dream. And yeah, they have no idea that there's those scenarios where nobody cares about you, and even though they did, and you're on top of the world, and then you're just like,
I was
who
listening.
the fuck is this guy?
I was listening to this interview with I don't remember who it was talking about Jason Bateman, and Bateman was at a point in his career where it was between him and the Verizon guy for the "Can you hear me now?" This is how like to him, this was how low his career got, having been like a huge child star too.
Oh yeah.
And then worked in his 20s, and then it was between him and that guy, and they gave it to the other guy, and he got to the point where he was like, "The hell's going on in my career?
Yeah.
Like I can't even book this Verizon commercial." And the fact that he like stuck, and he's such a phenomenal actor too.
He's so good.
That you're like, how did that guy ever not work? You
I
know
listen to
what I
his
mean?
podcast. I love
Oh,
Smartless.
Smartless is the best.
Smartless is so good.
It's the best.
It's actually one of my favorites.
I listen to it every Monday.
Every Monday?
Every Monday.
I anytime I have the opportunity,
It's an easy
I try
listen.
to keep up
The
with it.
three of them are just the best.
They're great.
together.
They're great.
They have the best chemistry. But yeah, I think that like they talk about it all the time on that show too. Is like the reason they all work so hard is because any minute it can all go away like
can
it
all
did
go away.
before. So
Well, like that you said, you're taking any project you can get. It's kind of one of those scenarios, when they're coming, you have to take them because you have no idea when it's going to happen again.
yeah, and I think also like work on stuff as much as you can so that you can eventually pass on things. You know,
Exactly.
Like, that's the dream, is to eventually be able to pick your
Just
work.
like a
but-
yes man right now. I'll take anything,
Yeah,
just,
I
just
think
give
it's-
it to me.
It's hard having worked as much as I did as a kid because you kind of, I don't know, it's probably some form of arrogance in the sense that you're like, well, I'm going to continue. to work. I'm
It'll
always
come
gonna
back.
work.
Yeah.
But I think that's just ignorant.
It is ignorant because
that.
anybody can, like you said, Jason Bateman, anybody can be beaten down.
Yeah.
But it's humbling and it makes you strive harder, and things always come back around eventually for some people. You know?
I'm hoping.
I mean, you've worked like since you were a kid. I mean, do you burn out? Do you have any opportunity to be a kid? Did you do some dumb kid shit when you got older, because you had to work your whole time, your whole childhood?
I think I was lucky enough in the sense that like I said earlier, I didn't have to move out to be in LA or anything like that. So I still lived at home with my family. And
it seems like you had a pretty wholesome.
Yeah. I mean, like none of my sisters enjoyed film. So it was just, I was the only weirdo. And my mom, I was lucky enough, was a stay-at-home mom. And then by the time my sisters were all in high school is when I started really working a lot, and she was able to be with me all the time. And I'm super fortunate about that because I don't know what I would have done other than that, So I kind of just got really lucky a lot of the time, And so I continually played baseball too from like 4 until I was 16 or 17, And even while I was working, I would just leave rehearsal and go home and go to my baseball practice or baseball games and stuff like that. And I think that kept
They
me
tried to
normal.
keep some normalcy for you, like
Yeah,
outside of
totally
that chaos that's not a normal childhood.
And then college definitely was like the period of my life where I got to be normal.
I mean, you have these
stupid.
questions because the child actors a lot of times, like, they get involved in a lot of adult scenarios. And I mean, I watched that Nickelodeon documentary and Kid 90, and you think like, it's brutal. Like, it's brutal for adults, let alone, a child who's just trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, they put a lot of blame on child actors, but I'd probably put more blame on the people around them.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's
it's
like-
not, that's what the outside world's opinion of something that they have no perspective on.
People would give Justin Bieber a hard time at 16 years old for like going 200 miles per hour in his Lamborghini. It's like,
He's
okay,
a kid. What did
or
you do at 16?
Any 16-year-old
Yeah.
boy with $250 million in the bank would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would have bought a monkey too. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
of course.
I was an idiot at 16 years old. I just didn't have his money.
Exactly.
Like every 16-year-old boy would do everything probably worse than he would do. So why are we
I
putting
know.
so much
I'm like,
pressure on him?
what did you do when you were 16 when you weren't in the limelight of everybody's
Yeah.
eye?
Yeah, he slept
You
with
know?
this Victoria's Secret model. You're like,
You're like,
oh,
oh,
the 16-year-old boy did.
Yeah.
Weird. How
Yeah.
funny that happened.
But mostly you're just like badass.
Yeah, I know. It's like so true.
You're
It's
like,
just
way to go, man.
It's stupid. It's so stupid to get so mad at that.
So you just did this project. I mean, what does your future look like? What do you want to keep doing films, or you want to do another sitcom, or you want to, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What's your idea?
I think, I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit. As long as you can be a working actor, I think you're a happy actor. I think in an ideal world, my life goal has always been to create a production company and just kind of pump out films. I think Adam Sandler has mastered the art of the film industry of being able to work with his friends every day. And
Absolutely.
I did a project with him years ago, and you would talk to somebody who worked in lighting, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've done Sandler's films for the last 25 years," and you're like, "That's amazing that he's carried this whole crew, carried the producers, everybody works with the same actors, just because he wants to work with his friends all the time." And I think that any time you get a chance to do that, like I feel like
I
literally
agree.
anybody in the industry would tell you if they could just work with their friends, they'd be the happiest person. You know?
I always, we were talking about the crew, I mean, I
Yeah.
always end up, instead of the talent, I always
Yeah.
end up being friends with,
Yeah.
the crew. And yeah, so, I mean, that is the ideal scenario. I agree with
Yeah.
you. So you're shooting for a production company, huh? I like
That
that.
would be the life goal. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
life goal for sure.
Not Oscar, but like production company.
Yeah, I think I'd
And
honestly,
making fun, whatever films with your buds.
totally, just like whatever comes the way. I think that you have so many friends that that want to write different kinds of stories. I have buddies who want to just write comedies. I have a buddy of mine who writes very twisted kind of stuff. And I think if you could make a company that does all of it, because I feel like usually they stick to a niche. But yeah, I think just being able to work with my friends for the rest of my life, and then just
Do you just gravitate more towards like comedy because that's kind of how you...
honestly, like what I prefer to watch would probably be more like, what I love? I love like crime detective kind of movies, stuff like that.
Okay.
Like I just watched Prisoners again the other day, and I forgot how great that movie is. That's just like one of the best,
Yeah.
And even still, in the end of it, you're like, I don't know, just that like Gyllenhaal's character in that movie is just so.
I like The
interesting.
Gentleman.
Great movie.
I watched it a lot. I don't know, like when I don't have anything to
The
watch.
show or the movie?
The movie.
The movie with
Yeah.
McConaughey. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
I love anything with McConaughey. True Detective, another one that he was in that was so incredible in that show. But I think that the industry has become like there's not really TV and movie actors anymore. Everybody kind of just does whatever work comes their way because it's
Right.
all
It's
long
very
form anyway.
Yeah.
I think it used to be more of a stigma, and then I feel like shows like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, House of Cards, stuff like that really kind of changed the game of
It really
people.
did. I agree.
Yeah, when Kevin Spacey went over there and started doing House of Cards for Netflix of a TV show, everybody was like, "You can do that if you're a movie actor,"
Absolutely.
So I think that it's nice to be able to kind of just do whatever. You don't really have to pick a lane. But yeah, I think that would be the life goal.
Life goal?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if you had the choice, I mean, you would do this all over again as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing I would change. I could sit here and probably bitch
Nothing
and
you
moan.
would change?
Nah, I'd probably sit here and bitch and moan about it a lot, but at the end of the day, like I live a really cool
Just
life.
grateful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, little things. No, there's nothing The only thing that I could ever probably complain about is maybe I shouldn't have gone to college because I was working so much before I went to college, and then kind of had to scratch and crawl back after it. but the time that I had in college led me to meet a lot of
the
amazing
frat.
people. Yeah, exactly. Like, I honestly, that was such a fun period of my life. You know,
I know, and that's something
It's
that
life
you
experience.
might not have got to do, and
Yeah.
and you know, it is a life experience, and a lot of people love their college years, you
Yeah.
know, and
I also got a
It's
lot of
fun.
stupidity out of the way. You know what I mean? Like I got to let it out, and now I'm good.
do you have any advice for like these kids trying to
Man,
do this?
It's so different now than it was when I started acting. I feel like it seems like the path to being an
fame.
actor is almost through social media now.
Yeah, the path to fame is quite a bit different these days.
It's also very hazy on like what. For some reason, there's this weird crossroad of influencer and actor, and they kind of like the influencers get put in acting projects, and then it's like these actors are like, does that mean I have to become an influencer to get these acting projects? But like those two things shouldn't even be correlated at all, because like just because you've spent your life
At all.
influencing doesn't mean you know anything about acting. And then
At all.
actors shouldn't feel obligated to be on social media. But then these casting directors are like, well, this person has X amount of followers. We want that to promote this project. And you're like, well, I guess you don't care about the acting portion of it. So I don't know. I think
that tracks.
it's totally different for me in the way I grew up compared to like how an actor would start today. But I do think that there are clearly people who genuinely love the craft of acting and the art of it. And I think that all prevails in the
Did
end.
you watch The Studio?
Yeah. Yeah.
I binge watched it.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
great.
it's just honestly, I mean, it's super campy, but it's like
It's great.
accurate. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? On some level,
It's totally
even
accurate. Yeah.
beyond the campiness, it's accurate.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
I mean, that's just kind of how it is, and it's shitty. You know, nobody wants to make passion projects anymore
Yeah.
because there's no money behind it. You know, they assume that there's no money behind it, and
Yeah.
you know,
Natasha
studios
and I,
want to make these big budget bullshit films.
Yeah.
You know,
Natasha and I were kind of talking about this the other day about like, you know, would we want our kids to act? And I was pretty adamant about like, no, I wouldn't want them to do that. And that reasoning was because like it went as perfectly as it could possibly go for me. And I got everything I could possibly have from acting as a child. And still in the end of it, I'm like, did I want to do any of the, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was so perfect, but it still
but you
was like
wouldn't know the
confusing.
difference. That's
Right.
kind
And
of
so I kind of was like, I don't know if I would want my kid to do that. And then ultimately the decision was like, if my kid told me that they wanted to be an actor, I think I would rather push them towards learning about acting and like studying acting rather than actually having them audition and go work. I would think I would rather like go be in theater classes, go major in it, or do whatever you want, and like
Yeah.
go do coaching, go do classes, do all the things that can teach you how to be an actor and teach you the actual art of it, rather than
right. I think it
pushing
can
them
steer
to
you one
be-
way or the other.
yeah.
Like if your parent, you know, has had that life, you either admire it so much and you have that same passion and you want to make them proud and you want to kind of do the same thing that they were doing, and you feel like that's just like a natural
yeah,
evolution and transition into your, you know,
Yeah.
adulthood, or you hated the life that it created for you.
Sure.
What, you know, your parents' fame or your parents' job or whatever, and you want to do something completely
Yeah.
opposite. I mean, I spent a lot of time on a racetrack, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., like his dad didn't want him to race. You know, he bought
Yeah.
him a bunch of art supplies and said, you know, go to art school. And he was like, I don't want to go to fucking art school. I want to
Yeah.
race. I want to race cars, you know, and it took so long for him to get his dad on board because he just didn't want him to do that. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
you know, and I also get being a parent and maybe having some negative experiences in that job and not wanting that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's also just, it's a bummer job. You just sit there and get told no. Half the time it's because you're not good at it, or half the time it's because the way
It's
you
humbling, you know. I mean,
you
it
know?
really is. You're gonna have to just put your ego aside every day,
look. Yeah.
you know, and get beat down.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the advice. Don't let it get to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a former child star, I mean, really, like, what's your real reality right now? I know that you're kind of in transition, looking for jobs.
Yeah.
You know, what's your day to day? what's your life really like right at this moment?
Okay, well, I spend most of my time in acting classes or auditioning, coaching, reading scripts, anything that gets sent to me, spending time with my sweet partner, spending time with my nieces and nephews, spend a lot of time in the gym. I'm running my second marathon in November. I ran one in March.
I ran 3 marathons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So running New York in November.
Wow.
And then
I'm never going to do it again.
Yeah, I frankly, I don't even want to do this one.
I ran 3. I'm
Yeah.
never doing it again.
Yeah.
My knees are shot.
Yeah.
You know, it was cathartic in the moment, and it
Yep.
was good, you know, in the moment.
Yep.
But I got the medals. I got the, you know, I did it.
Yeah.
Never have to do that again.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for right now.
Yeah.
And,
you know, I can say I did that.
yeah, I would say that's my real reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying really hard to
Just work.
get work and
That's it.
spending time with your loved ones. That's like, I mean, you
Same
know.
with everybody else on this planet, I think. Real reality for everybody here.
Yeah, just struggling to be happy.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have to say, thank you so much for being here, because my daughter's gonna freak the F out. You know, we do this little thing.
Yes.
Or we've decided to do this little thing where we have like a little after party. You know, I you know, I cook and I like mixology. I bartend at my boyfriend's bar, and I'd like to make you a cocktail.
Let's
if
do
you're
it.
Interested?
Yeah.
All right, let's head over.